Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. For those who are new to this channel, I welcome you all to the discussion of legal aspects of hospitality management. Today's topic is about deposit. Okay, so we're going to talk about what is deposit. Okay, let's find out whether the hotel or the property will be liable if we are going to endorse something to them or deposit something to them. Okay, let's find out if they will be liable if a certain thing will be lost, okay, inside the property. Okay, so what are the liabilities and obligations of the hotel to you? Okay, so a deposit is a legal relationship constituted from the moment a person receives a thing belonging to another with the obligation of safety keeping it and of returning the same according to Article 1962. So when we say deposit, you are familiar with this. We are not only pertaining to money deposited to a bank, but also to the things that are temporarily endorsed to a certain establishment. Like for example, when you get inside the mall, okay, the things that you normally endorse to the baggage counter, and they temporarily hold it for you for your convenience, and that is an example of a deposit. Same thing with the luggages, the baggages that you temporarily endorse to the luggage counter or to the bell desk, okay, of a certain hotel. And those things that you put inside the hotel are also, or bring inside the hotel, are also deposit. So by following such a definition, it can be inferred that a lot of transactions in the industry involves a contract of deposit. So let's find out what is a necessary deposit. According to Article 1996, a deposit is necessary when it is made in compliance with legal obligation. For example, it is really mandated by law, or there are really safety precautions and procedures that you have to abide because that is a mandate, okay, for the safety of everyone, for public safety, public health. Then you have to comply, you have to leave your things or you have to deposit your things, and that is considered a necessary deposit. Number two, when it takes place on the occasion of any calamity such as fire, storm, flood, pillage, shipwreck, or other similar events. So there are times wherein we are really forced to deposit something because, okay, we have to comply to public safety precautions and measures, and that's why we have to do that. So for example, okay, for ships, okay, okay, if it is really mandated that, okay, there is a certain limitation on the weight of the things that you are going to bring, so you have to really follow that. Okay, so if it is important to deposit a certain parcel or thing, then you have to abide for the safety of everyone. Article 1997, the deposit referred to in number 1 of the preceding article shall be governed by the provisions of the law establishing it, and in case of its deficiency, by the rules on voluntary deposit. Article 1998, the deposit of effects made by the travelers in hotels or inns shall also be regarded as necessary. Okay, the keepers of hotels or inns shall be responsible for them as depositaries. Alright? So, from Article 1998, guys, okay, to Article 2000, okay, these provisions, okay, will really give you, okay, a concrete idea of what are your responsibilities, okay, if you are already working in the hotel. Okay, so example, you are aiming to become a hotel manager, or you are you are going to run your own hotel, then you have to be very familiar with these provisions, okay, because these provisions provides you, okay, your responsibilities and obligations. Okay, according to Article 1998, you are responsible as a depository to the things, okay, being brought to your property. Okay, so that's very clear here. That's why, okay, for hotels, okay, they are very strict when it comes to security, when it comes to the honesty also of their workers, okay, of the hotel keepers that they employ, okay, because if ever that there will be something that will be missing inside the hotel, especially things brought by your guest, then of course the hotel will be liable for that. Example, you are the manager, then definitely you will be responsible for that. Okay, there are provisions here that clearly specify or provides that you are responsible for anything that will be lost. Okay, so let's continue reading. The keepers of hotels or inns shall be responsible for them as depositaries, provided that notice was given to them or to their employees of the effects brought by the guest, and that, on the part of the latter, they take the precautions which said hotel keepers on their substitutes advised relative to the care and vigilance of their effects. Okay. So that's why there are properties that they ask their guests to declare the things that they bring inside the property. Okay, so even if you are taking uh, a certain airline, for example, or a vehicle, there are some that they ask you to declare the things that you provide or bring with you. Okay, so that in case of emergency or in case of loss, then at least they are aware that you really have the thing, then they will be responsible for it. All right, moving on. Is still under Article 1999. Okay, the reason why we need to have tight security in the hotel and standard operating procedures, okay, for the operation of the hotel, because of course we have to uh, give priority or paramount importance to the safety of every guest, not only for the guest but also to the things and properties that they bring with them, okay, in the property or in the hotel. So like for example, vehicles, okay, that's why parking lot is very important. That's why it should be secured with CCTV also, okay, or with a parking attendant. Okay, there should be someone who should take good care of the parking space. Okay, so valley attendants are actually very necessary. So especially in parking or arranging the cars in the parking area, okay, in dropping of the guest, okay, from the porch area up to the parking area. So that's very important. So same thing with animals and other articles. So that's why there are hotels that prohibit animals in the property. Okay, so if you will be prohibiting animals, so that's also fine. So that's why some of the hotels provides notice already to the guest during during reservation stage. So they normally inform the guest that the hotel will not be able to accept, okay, animals in the hotel. Or there are some they allow animals or pets, but they have kennel services. Like for example, for dogs, they have kennel services, but they provide it with extra charge or pay amount. Okay, so that's additional revenue for the hotel. But if you would like to avoid liabilities, then better not include or do not allow animals in the hotel, right? Article 2000, the responsibility referred to in the two preceding articles shall include the loss of or injury to the personal property of the guest caused by the servants or employees of the keepers of hotels or inns as well as strangers. That's why earlier I mentioned to you guys that it's very important to properly select or carefully select employees okay, during the hiring process, because okay, the property itself will be liable. So as reflected by this provision, Article 2000. So at the end of the day, if there will be a complaint, still the property will be liable. The management will be liable for any loss or injury, right? So, like for example, in the law of common carrier, okay, there is a degree of diligence required. So, normally, what we require in any operation or in any hiring process, so there should be diligence of a good father of a family. So that is the diligence required in rendering a service. But here, extraordinary diligence may also apply because there are things, okay, that are at stake. Okay, so if there will be losses, that will be a loss on the end of the guest or of the person who will be staying in the property. So that's why, okay, the employees of the property should take extra precaution, be extra careful of what they're going to do, okay, because it whatever their action is, it may cause loss on the end of at the end of the guest. All right, so I hope that is clear to you. Okay, so even strangers, that's why, like with what I mentioned earlier, it's very important to have, okay, a good team of security personnel, okay, but not that which may proceed from any force majeure. So guys, this is one of the exceptions, okay, that we can see here. Okay, so you may not be totally liable if the reason of the loss is because of force majeure. So that is an exemption. Okay. So example, okay, in case of uh, typhoon or flood, okay, or fire. So things that are not really expected, that's because of natural phenomenon. So that is actually an exception. Okay. The fact that travelers are constrained to rely on the vigilance of the keeper of the hotels or inns shall be considered in determining the degree of care required of him. Right. Let's have Article 2001. The act of a thief or robber who has entered the hotel is not deemed force majeure. Alright, so this is very clear. We are not going to consider, okay, robbery as force majeure. Alright. Article 2002. The hotel keeper is not liable for compensation if the loss is due to the acts of the guest, his family servants, or visitors, or if the loss arises from the character of the things brought into the hotel. Okay, so this is another exemption, whether you are going to be liable or not. So, hotel keeper is not liable for compensation if the loss is due to the acts of the guest. If there is negligence on the part of the guest, okay, nasira yung isang device or gadget na dala niya, or because of his negligence or because of his act, then definitely the hotel will not be liable on that. Alright? But if the certain device, okay, was actually stolen by one of the hotel keeper or one of the employees, and it was actually caught, okay, by the camera, then definitely the hotel will be the employee will be liable, and of course the hotel should do something about it. Okay. Article 2003. The hotel keeper cannot free himself from responsibility by posting notices to the effect that he is not liable for the articles brought by the guest. Any stipulation between the hotel keeper and the guest whereby the responsibility of the former as set forth in Articles 1998 to 2001 is suppressed or diminished shall be void. Okay, so this is very clear. This will not exempt you from the responsibility. So whether you posted already signages or notices about the luggages, that the property will not be liable to it, still if the losses are actually under or covered by the provisions that we discussed earlier or that we mentioned earlier, then definitely, okay, the hotel is still liable under Article 2003. So this is not actually applicable to hotel only, but also to common carriers, like in terms of the losses in terms of the luggage of the passenger. Okay, so we cannot just only say that the liability is at the passenger, the end of the passenger. All right. So that's it for today. I hope you learned something from this short lecture video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.